It was so odd on the long journey south to see that first glimpse of Jerusalem. Jamie had always been so excited for it, yet what was the point of looking now, since they weren't going there? Bethlehem drove them, along with the little stranger destined to be born there, a holy one from ancient times, yet coming to live with them as one of their family. Although Jamie thought maybe it couldn't hurt to pop into Jerusalem. They came to the crossroads, one road leading up that last slope to the Damascus Gate, the other skirting around the city walls. Jamie was opening his mouth to say it made sense to stay in Jerusalem tonight, as it would be nearly dark by the time they got to Bethlehem, when Mary gave a sharp gasp, leaning forward and grabbing the saddle. "What is it?" asked Joseph quickly. "Is the baby starting?" She didn't answer straight away, holding on tight. "I'm not sure," she said. "It might be." "No! What is God doing?" groaned Jamie. "All those thousands of years to prepare, and he leaves it this last minute." "It's not God's fault," said Joseph, desperate for Mary and angry at himself. "He put it all there for us in the writings. It's me. How could I have been so stupid? I should have remembered and brought us to live here as soon as we were married." Mary unstiffened, straightening up cautiously. "It's not your fault either," she said, the only one staying calm. "Scholars spend their lives arguing over the scriptures. No one can remember it all." "Oh, well, we tried," sighed Jamie, wondering if Miriam's family were home and whether Dinah had been baking today. "God will understand." He hitched his pack more comfortably onto his shoulders and started up the road to Jerusalem. Mary shook her head. "It has to be Bethlehem. Come on. God is with us. He'll help us." Jamie watched in disbelief as she nudged the donkey onto the path around the city, with Joseph drawing up his strength and going with her. Seriously? Could they not just pop into Jerusalem? Was that not a more fitting place for the King of Kings to be born, if he was about to be born right now? A capital city with all those golden buildings? Did it have to be that stupid little village, the smallest of the small? This was now an emergency. The rules had changed. Mary and Joseph pressed on without even looking back to see whether Jamie was following, and he was quickly getting left behind. So, for the first time, but by no means the last, Jamie had to abandon any ideas that his way was the best and run to catch up with God's plan. Bethlehem was even less interesting than Jamie's very low expectations. As they approached, it became clear that the village was little more than a settlement of a few hundred shepherds and farmers. That was all they ever did here, produce the lambs to be taken to Jerusalem for Passover. Jamie could see a flock of sheep out on a distant hillside right now. None of the houses was new or even in good repair, and though Jamie had always lived in a poor home himself, he was a snob when it came to other people. He hoped Joseph could find somewhere decent. But as they got into the village itself, a new problem began to dawn on them. All those people descended from King David, all those people with as much right to think of themselves as princes and princesses as Jamie, here they all were, to register with the Romans. Joseph stopped and stared at the throng of people, dismayed at this last hurdle, just when he thought they had reached their goal. He couldn't even see where to begin, but another sudden gasp from Mary and clinging to the saddle pushed him into action. "On the mountain of the Lord it will be provided," he muttered to himself, quoting from the holy writings, striding towards the buildings. He knocked at the front door with commanding urgency. A small girl opened it, with an even smaller girl wailing and clinging to her. "Who is it?" yelled a woman from further in the house, hidden from sight by a crowd of travellers, still with their cloaks on, packed too tight to sit, eating their dinner standing up. "Tell them we're full." "We're full," whispered the girl apologetically, closing the door in Joseph's face. Joseph knocked on the next door with a tad less authority. Through the closed shutters, Jamie heard a group in heated debate. "If we want people to join the revolution, we have to have the right name." "All I'm saying is Judean, Samaritan and Galilean is too long. Judean, Galilean and Samaritan flows better." Were they the resistance movement? The door was opened a sliver by a weasel-like man who glared at them, glancing furtively up and down the street. "Password?" "My wife is about to give birth," said Joseph. "That was last year's password," snapped the man. "Ain't you got nothing current?" It is current," said Joseph Wrongfoot. It's happening now." "We want to get rid of the Romans too," broke in Jamie, hoping it would make them welcome in this strange house. "The baby who'll be born tonight is the chosen one. We'll join with your group when you've decided what to call it, and we'll fight the Romans together." "Not without the password, you won't," retorted the man, slamming the door. Joseph knocked at another door with even less confidence, already hearing the din inside. "Hang on a minute," bellowed a woman's voice, and then followed a stream of interrupted monologue to the people inside. "Yes, could I just squeeze? I just need to get through. Could you just pop those chickens on the—" Loud squawking and a lot of flapping. "So kind. I'll be right with you. Oh, sorry, dear. Can I? If you would just lift the ram's horn so that I can duck under." Tuneless toot from a ram's horn. "Smashing. Thank you. Yes, do put your cloaks on, Grandad. He won't." "Coming. Oh, can I just get past?" No, careful of the slop bucket. Oh, never mind. Is that your goat? Could you just—" Outraged bleating. "Perfect. I'm just trying to— there we go." The door burst open with a loud blast from the ram's horn and more clucking and bleating, and the woman spilled out of her house on a tide of people and animals. "Yes, dear. How can I help?" she said brightly to Joseph, with the smile of one so used to giving the impression of coping, she did it even when no one could possibly believe her. "My wife is having a baby," said Joseph, desperate for someone to listen. "Goodness, so she is," said the woman, looking at Mary, who was leaning forward again, clutching the donkey's mane and doing a strange panting instead of normal breaths. "Is there an inn in this village?" asked Joseph, hoping against hope. It wouldn't be like a proper hotel, but sometimes people built extra rooms and opened up their houses to give hospitality as a way of earning a living. It was clear no ordinary home would have space for them tonight. "Thing is, this is the inn," said the woman with the same bright smile, her eyes glazing over at the vastness of the problem. "It's the Romans, you see." "We know," said Joseph, unable to cope with any more opinions on the Romans right now. Mary gave a groan, trying hard not to make a noise. "Right then," said the woman, making up her mind, leaning past random guests and trying to reach into her house. "Could I just— yes, would you mind, dear, if you just put that big slab of cheese up above the— oh, sorry, Grandad. Thanks. Oh, there we are." She priced herself back out with difficulty, brandishing a rusty key and lowering her voice. "You see that animal shelter just outside the village?" They looked and saw a ramshackle old building, Once a watchtower, but now mostly crumbled to just one story, standing by itself. "It's mine," she continued, slipping the key to Joseph. "I've been saving it for me and Grandad with all this craziness, but, well, your need is greater. There's a few cows and that, but the straw is clean, and it's warm and private." Thank you, gasped Joseph, with heartfelt gratitude. And even Jamie's picky standards had dropped so far, he gave her a big, tearful hug.